Can you guys hear me?
Gotcha.
Gotcha. Roger.
Roger.
A little minute early. How's everybody doing tonight?
Good, Matt. How about you?
I'm doing fantastic.
Nice.
Fantastic. Kids are screaming. One's in bed. You know, let's roll with it. You heard the screams the other night, Mark.
Hey, that was good, baby. That was good. They do end, and you don't get those days back, Matt. You don't get them back.
You know, people keep telling me that. People keep telling me that. I don't know. I don't know if I'm buying into that right now.
I will not miss the days of my kids screaming and acting like fools. Like, no, let's get them grown up. We're good. I'll miss the cute shit. Don't get me wrong, but not the screaming. Nope.
Screaming.
I
Yeah.
don't know.
I don't know.
See, mine is out of the house now, so it's like I was mad when the room was messy, but I'm sad when it's empty. You know, so
The double-edged sword.
it's yeah.
Good evening, Mr. Linney. You're muted.
I said, we ready to do this shit, motherfucker. Let's go.
Man, there he is. Let's go. 8 o'clock on the dot. All right. Well, let me get everybody. Let me give them a little pre-frame tonight. Austin, is that cool?
Do your thing, bro.
All right. I want you to join me though. You're going to join me. And I'm going to share my screen here. Can you guys see this? Yes? No? You guys see it? Okay, cool. So good. So Austin and I were talking last week, and we've got, gosh, this is the seventh one, 7th of 8 boot camps. And this has been really fun. And we got one more left after this week, but we've covered a lot of stuff, like with real estate, going over the different deals with opportunities, talked about vision and goal setting. And him and I were going back and forth this past week. And this was a big one that coming out of this, putting this together with him and I, that we wanted to talk about. And it's your mindset. And probably where I want to go with this to start is that I've got a good story. I'm sure we've all got tons of stories, but this is like a never-ending process, is your mindset. And this is one thing that I'll tell the story on that I learned. I feel like it didn't set in for me till I was like 26 years old. And it's like, once it did, I know exactly when it happened. It was like a switch when my brain turned on and started to realize this stuff. But from that point, it's just been building and building and building, and constant, consistent growth, daily, weekly, yearly, that you always get after it. And it's, it goes like this, it goes up and down, but I just feel like it's always been going up. It's a constant learning process. And so what I've got here is, this is kind of the path that we go on, right? And if you guys think about it, I want to make sure that I get everybody in. Oh yeah. Admit. But what I put together here was basically during our youth we're subjected to a lot of things growing up, to culture, society, to our parents, to everything that we have in our surroundings. And that basically develops our subconscious mind, and we create a mindset around that. And then as we get older, we start to have some life experiences, and we start to discover our choices and our place. And like I said, I've got stories with this. Once we get going, I'd like to, I want to pick Austin's brain on his stories and talk about, other people's stories. But then to me, ultimately, it's like a paradox of choices that you get to make. You get to choose a path. This has been my experience. Everything that we go through is a path. It's a choice that we get to follow. And really, everybody has a story to this, right? Whatever path we've taken, we've all had a story to tell. And what, I want to go with this, and Austin, I want to pick your brain on this, but I always tell the story. You see this book right here, The Secret. And I always say it's kind of a cheesy story, but I literally remember being 26 years old, and I had just graduated college, and I was in the working world, and I was had my subconscious beliefs where I was sitting here, having all the stories that were told to me over my life of what I was expected to do, what I should have done. And I read this book, and it changed my whole perspective. And what the book was about was basically the choice you get to choose with your thoughts. And when I had that realization, it was like I said, I remember being 26 years old. I was sitting in an ethanol plant operating room, and I read this book, and it was I literally asked myself a question, and I said, Matt, what are we doing here? I remember my brain asking. And from then, ever since then, it's been book after book after book, just constantly building on this stuff. And it's been just a refinement of my mindset with that. And I mean, I'll ask Austin, what are some of the transformative ones that you've read over the years that have really, really helped your mindset? Give us an insight on it.
The one I just recently read was The Gap in the Game. I thought that was fucking amazing. Basic premise to the book on a high level overview is we spend our life, trying to live up to our ideal self, which is something that we shoot for. It's not something that we currently are. So by seeking what you currently are, what you currently aren't, you're creating a space where you enter a cycle where you don't match that, so you beat yourself up. And basically what he's saying is, if you look back on who you were an hour ago, yesterday, the day before that, or how far you've come, then you create gratitude, which then creates a mechanism to shoot further because you're excited about and you see the difference, right? And in the same vein, but in a different concept, the Slight Edge is basically before Atomic Habits. And he talks about the trajectory towards not completing your goals and completing your goals are very, very razor thin. And the problem is these little wins stack up time and time again. And so if you live your life on the process and you create these little wins over and over again, you're gonna create everything that you want to create. I actually think that when you focus on one thing, which is my philosophy in my entire life, is how do I get 1% better every day? Simple, nothing else, nothing more. It doesn't say how much fucking money I made a day. It doesn't say any of the things. It doesn't say how much I worked out. I want to do 1% every day. And that's what I live by. So that's just my thing.
No, and I mean, that's what when we were going back and forth with these, it was, to me, looking back at how things have progressed even in my life, and how I feel like I've literally developed my mind is through reading books, and what I'm going to go to on the next slide. But what and how many of you guys, and you guys can put your hands up, how many guys have heard of Napoleon Hill and read Think and Grow Rich, or have just heard of Napoleon Hill? Like pretty much, yeah, everybody. He's like, it's like that is like he was like one of the founders of like personal growth and self-development. And I just remember reading these books, and they really set the path. And one of the topics that we're going to talk about next week is the book called Outwitting the Devil. I'd like to get into a little bit in this conversation once we finish this up. But listening to that book, that was again another life changer for me. It just like it knocked so much fear out of my brain about what place we can live in our mind versus where we choose we can live. So those ones are just other ones. But that's what it just goes back to what you constantly are feeding your mind. And I don't know, I tell this story, like, I don't even know where I got it. And the people that I surround myself, we constantly have these conversations. We're like, where did you get it? But I just feel like reading books and giving and feeding these things into your mind is when you constantly develop this stuff. And so the other one that I want to tell a story on is, right, Mr. Linney, you remember that day, that picture?
Oh, Lord. Yeah.
So Austin and I met about 5 years ago. And again, it's one of those things where you're consuming material and consuming. And one of the thoughts and ideas that came into my reality was the power of masterminds and the power of who you surround yourself with. And we met up in a mastermind group that was specifically created like this. It started out with a few people and grew into very focused individuals who were focused on self-development, personal development, getting themselves better. And what happened, right? Power of the mastermind. And Napoleon Hill even talks about the power of this in his book, in Think and Grow Rich, in Outwitting the Devil, in the Laws of Success books, and the power that you have of the group, of the mind, and who you surround yourself with. It just like compounds that mindset into where you're trying to grow. And the next thing I'm going to hit on is events. And that picture right there is at Austin and I, and we were at a multifamily event where we connected, we met up, and I met up with a bunch of other guys, and it just continued to continue to spawn our growth as individuals together. And the other picture I have, this one right here, I snapped this picture of myself because I was at a Tony Robbins event, and I literally remember like having just a complete mental breakthrough. And many of you who I've talked about, I've talked about the power of, like, to me, what the Tony Robbins events have done to me. And when you go to those events, you're in a different state of mind, and you're learning something new. And what happens is your literal neural pathways develop new ideas, and they grow because you are not in the same element. So doing those things like just expands your mindset greatly. And so this is it. I mean, this is the biggest topic on mindset, is just what we do on a consistent daily, weekly, monthly, and yearly basis. And we can have a lot of conversation about this, but it's basically the daily consistent practice of learning, of pushing ourselves into our uncomfortable areas. I know my uncomfortable areas. That's why I have coaches, why I'm in groups like this, why I do things like this, because it makes me uncomfortable. Why, and then the thing is you grow, you ask better questions. The best wisdom that I feel like I go into any meeting or any phone call is I sit here and I ask myself, I'm like, what's the better question to ask? How can you ask a better question? And even if you do that to yourself, you discover new things about yourself. And the last one I love on this is, again, I heard this phrase is, knowledge is not power. Knowledge is potential power. Action is where power truly lies. Any thoughts? Any ideas? Feedback? Questions? Because where I'm going to end is where I feel like we go with many, many, many conversations. And it's your choice. Mindset is a choice. Like I said, I remember being 26, sitting there and reading like this book right here. And I read that book and I started to ask myself the question of what can I do better? What am I doing with my life? And it's just been an ongoing path ever since. And so and another one is that, a lot of people are stuck, like they feel like they get stuck, is that it doesn't matter what stage you're at in life, where you're at in life, whatever age you are, but the past does not equal the future. And many, 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 many of us, everybody from all walks of life will sit here and tell that story of, this happened to me. I was subjected to this and I went through this. And it's really a choice of letting this go. And I love this story about, I read it in a book, but it was about 3 guys who were in a helicopter crash in Vietnam. And the short story goes is basically, the second they crashed, they were taken in captivity by the Viet Cong, and they were kept there for 10 years, like in solitary confinement. One of them, about like a month in, committed suicide. Another one is out and he went into a mental asylum once he got out, just completely lost his mental perception. And another one, I think his name was Jerry Coffey. And I've heard this story, but basically he went on to use that situation as a completely transformative experience where he got to ask himself a better question every single day. And what ended up happening was he became like one of the renowned world speakers, like on personal development and mindset, because he went through that experience and he used that experience to help his entire life. So I hope that just gives some context and just some discussion points tonight, and just lots of questions to ask. I just, put this together last week, and yeah, here we are talking about it. Any feedback? Austin, what do you think?
Part of the story to that is that every day he would visualize in his mind that he was at home with his family, and he would manifest the good feelings that were in his body.
Yeah. And I think from that story, they said he got interviewed and he said from that experience, he grew more stronger mentally than any other time in his life, because he used it.
Dude, it's like 10 degrees outside. I have no shoes on. I've been working all day talking to people all over the world. It's all available. And you could choose to focus on what you want to or what you don't want to. It's really that simple. So I guess the biggest thing I want to ask, and I'll go around the room, is what is one goal next year? Let's say a stretch goal. Like, what's one stretch goal that you want to complete? And how can the group support you in that? Who wants to go first? Maybe we'll give you some time. All right, I'll repeat it because we just had 2 new guys come in. What is a goal next year that you want to create that's a stretch goal that we as a group can hold you accountable to? What's that?
Austin, is this like around mindset or wanting to make a change?
I want something that is something that maybe you want, but is a limiting belief that's maybe you haven't achieved yet or even thought about making a goal yet. I tell everybody, suspend all belief. Just ask the universe, ask us something.
I'll go
All right.
too, but I don't know. The first thing that popped into my head had to do with my parenting skills.
Okay.
'Cause I tend to lose my shit really fast because I don't know. So I just want to work on that and just instill in my kids like it's okay to be different, and like if you like it, like whatever, doing that. But then like for myself, I think just realizing that I am capable of more than I'm doing currently, and I can do a lot more. Does that make sense?
And what's a tangible, like a metric you can put on that? Like, is that get your first coaching client, create money this way? Like, what's a tangible?
Stacey,
I
I can relate to that. I like, and part of me, like, that was actually one that I was thinking of. Like, I would share, like, yeah, like freaking out about kids. And I think like, what's action steps that you can take? Like, what's something that you could set on this new year of what you're going to do?
I don't know. I think just set more time aside, like individually with my kids, because they don't ever get individual time. Because there's 3 of them. They're 6, 7, and 8. They're boys. They're freaking crazy. Like, I don't know. So just setting aside specific times so they have time with just me. But like something also like for myself, I think just getting like having like at least like 4 coaching clients regularly by this time. No, that's every month. That's like too small. Was 4 every month. Like I want to work up 4 every month. We'll say middle of summer. That's my goal.
Love it. And I was thinking, because your kids have so much energy, you could like tie some reins onto them and just put them out on the football field and let them go. And maybe you stand on a sled like my coach's football. I mean, you can just get on the sled, be like push, 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 and then like boom. But I don't know if that would even tire them out. So
I don't know. I
Stacey,
wonder some days.
one of the things I mean, and yeah, it's just like anybody who had
by the way,
with
this is
young
the
kids
fifth.
can relate to
This is the 5th time I've heard this today. I want to be a better parent next year. Just so we're clear. Just so y'all know you're not on you're alone
Right.
here.
And even so, like I even think about that, like, what does that mean? And I put like, even literally one of the goals that I've written down is when my kids get into that state, I need to have my breathing practice. I do my breathing practices that takes me out of that freak out state and I step away. Because if I stay there, it's like, it goes crazy. But I literally have to take the steps. That action is on me. So that's mine. Austin, what was the question again?
So what is something that you have put off or wanted to do next year that is a goal that you are going to stretch for, that's going to level you up, and the group is going to support you and check in? So that could be personal, it could be business. I don't really care.
And this is around stretching once uncomfortable in your mind.
I'll speak. For me, something I've talked about with Austin, I think it's more that I need to do what's best for me versus thinking that what's better for, other people. In the current stage that,
Did everybody hear that? Because a couple people on this call need to listen to that. Say that again, Mike.
so I need to do what I've been pushing off for a while is doing what's best for me or even yourself than what's better for other people. I'll give you guys a little background. I'm in a current position right now where, you know, I work for my cousin. God bless him. It's been great, but I am trapped in the sense of thinking that I need to be there and not know that I can do a lot more. Just like what Stacy just said, I'm capable of a lot more. The issue is right now, I'm just doing what's best for the company versus for myself. So if I stay there, I'll never see myself leaving. So next year, my goal is I'm not going to be afraid to tell people no. And I'm not going to be afraid to tell myself that you can do it. Because before I felt like I was always just trapped in when there's a lot more that I can do. When you tell yourself something, and I realize this, when you tell yourself that, oh, I'm not the greatest, or I'm not the fastest, or I'm not the smart, you're just crushing your limiting beliefs. You're actually creating this image in your head where it becomes a monster. If you take guide, and you know, Austin's taught me this, it's little things like saying, I will. No. Don't say I will. Say I am. Or you and whoever, like a partner, we are, or we are going. Don't say I will, because it, you know, it's like Austin said, I will is, okay, I'll go to the gym tomorrow. Sure, you go, you don't, you don't. I am going to, I'm taking that action. Take that action. So the action for me is doing what's best for me and my future family. You know, I'm getting married next year. So I got to think about 10, 15, 20 years from now for my future kids one day, for my wife. My goal, and I hope everyone's goal is the same. I want to be financially free. It's not about the money. It's about having more time, because we can do so much in the day, but if you're stuck where you are, it shrinks. Like I tell Austin, I come home every day at 4:30. From 5 to 10, I'm working on other things. I can have that time where I work from home. I can prioritize my time. I'll get a lot more done. And I know I'm capable. Right now, I just don't have it. But my goal is to get better for myself and for me to take that action to tell people, can't do it right now. Just can't. You got to learn to say no. It's hard for me. As nice as I've been to people, I've been stabbed. So it's just reality now. And when people see you different, it's a shock to them because they're not used to that. But it's a new you. You're on a different path than what they are. So remember that. Because
I think it becomes, it's like it's scary to go down that, right? And that's even that to me is like it's like a change.
You know what a men's coach that I interviewed today, he said, here's the 3 stages of changing your life. 1, you're targeted because you're changing. Second is they're going, okay, holy shit, he's actually sticking with it. And the third is asking you for advice.
That's the truth.
And this is something I've noticed. You know, when some of you guys, if you're ever in real estate, you may want to go out and attract some money to people, let them know about something. And they'll always just say no, blah, blah, blah. When they see you doing it, they're going to ask you how you did it. And they're going to want to jump on that train because they didn't believe in you. And now they see that you have a proven system or a proven method of how you're able to do it. They're going to want to join. But just like what Matt said, when you do something, people are always bitter and salty about it. But when they see you take that action and you do something big, they're going to say, wow, good for Mike, good for Rebecca, good for Dave. That's what they're going to see. So you take that, you're not there to shove it in their face. You're just there to prove them wrong. And again, you're on a different path. I think all of us are in agreement that we're trying to change our life, which I'm sure a lot of us have gone through things in life where good, bad. And I know that it's going to get better. It's in God's hands. Have faith, believe in it. I've had to tell myself 100 million times, it will happen. Just be patient. That's one thing too. Got to learn to be more patient. That's a goal that I need because I'm very eager and very quick just to, what's going on, but just be patient. It will come.
It's staying the path.
Yeah.
What somebody else? What's one of
next?
the what's one of the goals you have for next year around your mindset shift? You're changing something about you.
We'd be ministering kids, and I want maybe about 5 of them, basically just speaking life over them, and these come from like rough areas, so basically being the person I should have met at a very young age. So yeah.
Awesome. So great. Who else?
Anybody? We're gonna start calling you.
Yeah, I'll go.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yes,
Yes.
sir. Yes, sir.
So something I've had written down on my sheet that I review every morning and night is I want to increase our business to $10,000 per month by June 2022. I'm not. I guess I'm not gonna. I don't feel like I want to brag. I think I'm doing a good job with my kids right now. I mean, yeah, you could always be a better dad, but I have a pretty good relationship with my kids. I just need to really start to increase our income and start to build that freedom away from my 9 to 5, so that I can have more time to spend with them, and we can do more things together, more adventures, more of everything. So that's that's it.
Hey, Dave, with that, what part of I want you to think about this. What part of your mind or what part of your current belief system do you think needs to grow or change to make that happen?
Well, I actually journaled a little bit about this. I mean, my journal was about a sentence, but it was very much like we just discussed. But like for me, just that really resonates with me. What's best for me, what's better for what other people. And I'm afraid to say, have been afraid to say no. Even especially with my work, I mean, it's an identity thing. And I mean, the expectation is that you are that person 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And I've lived that for 22 years. And now I'm coming to the realization or whatever that it's, I need to say no. I need to draw a boundary, and I really need to be, more consistent. Maybe that's not the right word, but I just need to create that boundary to say, yes, I can be both of these people, or I can be this person when I need to be, but I also am the other guy that is developing and growing a business, and not feeling guilty about it or anything else.
Yeah.
Dave, fuck yes. God damn it. That feels so good for you to say that shit. I swear to God, I feel like I've been saying the same thing for a year. I'm so happy right now. Dude, it's my birthday. Thank you. Fuck yes.
Yeah,
dude.
like Dave, when you
Yeah.
say that, like part of me is like, I want you to go and yell that. Like,
Yeah.
go refine it. And it's back to, like what Mike was saying. I am going to do this.
Yeah.
It's setting those actions and even something like, this is one thing that from reading those books and going to those events, I talk about it. And I've talked about like the affirmations and just embodying that. And it's not just saying it. It's not just saying it, but you say it with focus, like you say it with energy. And like, even when I get into this state, like I can literally be down in the dumps. I could be in a bad mood. I can go outside and go for a run and just get in that mental state and just pull myself out of it.
Yeah.
And even as you just described, so I said, I really want you to just like go run to the top of the mountain and start screaming those things out.
Yeah. Well, I mean, this year I've completed 2 rounds of 75 hard. And, the only thing that ever would have held me back is time. Right. And then, you feel guilty. And I've had people mention it to me that, you take your time off at lunch hour and you go for a run, or you take some time and you do your exercise, you do whatever you need to do. And the guys are like, well, it's nice to be able to go home early and go do that stuff, or it's nice to be able to do that. And it's kind of like, well, I don't have to explain myself to you, but
Yep.
I'm putting the time in regardless. I put in the time when you're gone home. I put in the time before you get here. I answer the phone when it rings at midnight or whatever time in the morning. I don't have to justify that. So, I mean, now I understand that if you can create the time to do that, then you can create the time to do the things that are important as well. Right. Yeah.
Love it.
I want to say one thing. Not in a bad way. I've lost friends this past 10 months since I've joined a real estate program, because I've worked on the things at home that where I want to be one day. And I don't explain myself to people. I just tell them I'm busy, I'm doing things. And they start asking me, like, what are you doing? So I'm just focusing on myself. And they start to wonder, like, what are you're doing? You kind of tell them the best thing is that one day you will never have to explain or answer to anybody. And that's what I can't wait. I was telling our call earlier, I can't wait to do that, because we just feel like when you get an email from work, you think in your head, I just have to respond. And that email might not be as important. But you know what? At the end of the day, when you work for yourself, you have your own business, you set that tone, you dictate it. What you said was, fuck, I want to slam my laptop now. Like, awesome.
But, like the Ed Milet podcast or thing that I listen to, once or twice a week, like he talks about, and I mean, everybody's heard the same thing, but it just takes time to get it into your head. But I mean, there's a cast of people that are in your life, and then there's all the other people in the movie that are the small part players. And at the end of the day, I mean, there's going to be 4 or 5 people that really, really matter in your movie, or whatever you want, however you want to frame it, your story. The rest of them, yeah, maybe it's the guy that's signing your paycheck today, but he doesn't matter. Like he's not going to be there. That you got to get past those guys.
Yeah.
You got to leave that behind.
Temporary people leave permanent messages.
Right.
Yeah, it's the truth. I love it. Fire. Who's next?
I'll go.
All right.
I think like I resonate with the whole putting myself before other people, because I'm a people pleaser by nature, and I don't like to upset other people. So I will sacrifice things about myself to help someone else, which is something that I definitely have to, I guess, Austin, I see you. I have to work on for sure. And then like the other thing that I really struggle with, which I'm getting a little bit better about, but I'm a perfectionist, like for myself. So I hold myself to a very high standard. And if I feel like I can't be the very best, then I won't do it at all, because I beat myself up when I make a mistake, and I just feel like I have to be perfect all the time. I'm not really sure where that came from, but it's something I'm starting to get a little bit better with. But I'd like to be at I'd like it to never be an issue for me anymore. That's that.
And just because she's humble and she won't say, she's already made a step in the right direction, because she is CEO of my bookkeeping company. And so she is putting herself first, and we are honored, me and Bobby, to give her that opportunity. And she's going to be involved in some other stuff too. So the window is opening, and she's about to kick it the fuck down. So I'm very proud of your growth this year and excited to see what next year.
Rebecca,
Thank
I have a
you.
question.
Yeah.
come up with questions from these. What do you think? I want to hear you say, like, I am going to. And what's your tangible goal around that with what you described?
I'm going to put myself and my kids first.
Okay. I love it. Thank you.
Mhm.
Not that anyone else is gonna get this reference, and she is going to give out all the gift cards. Sorry, just had to make her laugh. That's it.
Thank you.
I love it. I love it. Okay. Who's next? Calling out Connor or Mark?
I'll go next. So this year I've noticed that I lacked confidence in myself and not very good with relationships and talking to people. So this next year I'd like to focus, and that might be because I'm not really focusing on myself more, putting other people first when I need to focus on myself sometimes. So next year I would like to get better at building relationships and be more confident in myself.
Okay.
Yeah.
Connor, this goes right back to that conversation we had the other day, right? Rapport, baby, rapport. Have you noticed that? Any change in that?
Yeah, I used it at work and it's been working.
Okay. Cool. Good stuff, man.
Hey, Connor, if you said that maybe you're not confident, maybe speaking to people about certain things, the best thing I did in sales, you learn it, practice it with people you know, and let them be like very biased, like as if they don't know you, and let them give you rejections and see how you can overcome it. Because at the end of the day, they're not going to judge you, right? They're going to help you. And that's something I had to learn. This is years ago when I did a lot of sales, right? So practice that on people you know and give them, just like, write it out and say, I'm going to say this. I want you to overcome those rejections, overcome that adversity, and get over that hump. When you get over that hump, sky's the limit, brother.
Yeah, that's great feedback.
Thank you.
Seriously. Seriously.
Even one of the like with that, Mike, like that's so spot on. Like when I started to do presentations of things, and one of the roles I used to have, I was a director of operations, and I had to give presentations to the board of the school board. You want to talk about like the ultimate, like no reaction to anything, no humor towards anything. It was like talking to a group of dead people. And I practiced talking to my wife. I'm like, honey, here, I need you to do this. Like, I need no reaction out of it. I need no reaction. And when I'm done, I need you to rip me apart. And I did that with like her, with my family. And it's like when you just get up and you practice that. And even one of the things, when you do that, I made videos of myself doing that. And I would go back and watch the videos. Have any of you ever done that? And then you watch the videos, you're like, holy shit, I look like an idiot.
Pat, what's yours?
Huh?
What's your goal? What's your thing?
What's mine? I am going to stop reacting to every scream that I hear in my house. But I also have a hack. You know what those hacks are? Earplugs. Thought I'd get a couple more laughs talking to the school board here.
It gets better when they get older, if that's any consolation to you and Stacy. I promise it gets better.
Yeah. I'm patient. I'm being patient with that. So yeah, that's one. It's really funny. I've had some conversations with people about that. It's just like literally I feel like little kids. And actually it was very, very, very refreshing to me. I had having Mike on the call last week, because him and I started talking more, and I actually joined up with Front Row Dads this past week. And that was, it's just, it's another, to me, this is where I love these groups. I love when you have these people in these rooms that are pulling you up. They're helping you out. Hey, these are these things that you're missing. And to me, this just goes back to the conversation about mindset. And it goes back to, you know, what I said about one of the powerful things that I realized was who you surround yourself with. And when you surrounding yourself with people who are lifting you up, people who you're messaging, you're like, man, my kid's freaking out at 6 a.m. I'm losing my mind. And they're like, oh, don't worry, because that never happens to any of us. I'm like, all right, thanks, guys. That's like one of the first things they said. But yeah, it's, you know, this type of stuff, when you surround yourself with the right groups, these right type of people, it's just super, super powerful. It's your mindset. Who we got left? Who hasn't gone? Leif? Mark, have you gone?
Hear me?
Mhm.
Sweet. All right. I'm kind of in a different spot than a lot of guys here. I've kind of done the 0 to 1 with businesses. I built 3 or 4 of them. So I'm in that spot. I've talked to Matt. Like, I essentially have a successful business that runs on autopilot, and I've kind of, every time I've been in this situation, I've never been able to get from 1 to 2, the next level, right? So going from a small operating business to a larger operating business. And that's kind of the growth mode I'm looking to be in. You either grow your business to sell it, or you grow your business to scale it. And so I'm in the mode of, do I want to sell in the next 2 years, or do I want to grow my business? And Matt and I spent a lot of time talking about some of these things and working it out. And this year, I'm going to essentially triple the size of my business that I currently have. So I'm going to go for growth, not for sale.
Mark, I love how you worded that too.
Cool. Mark, you ever book Rocket Fuel?
No, I've not.
That's a good book. And the basic of it is you have an owner who's a visionary guy.
Mhm.
Then you bring in another owner on the outside who's integrator. You focus, as a visionary, you focus on the sales, the marketing, the growth of the business. You get an integrator who focuses in the business on keeping employees checked, making sure tasks are getting done.
Mhm.
Austin introduced me to the book, and I'm almost done with the book. I will say this: every business has an integrator, and every business has a visionary. Apple, Steve Jobs was visionary, and the other gentleman, whatever his name was, he was an integrator. If you want to scale, you want to find somebody outside who can implement that, so you can focus on the business while they focus in the business.
It's the rocket fuel. It's the operator, right? The operator and the integrator, right?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
Well,
No, yeah,
I
I
appreciate that. Yeah. And as Matt knows, I just hired the operator. I just hired a GM. So
Badass.
I've actually removed myself from the day-to-day, and the
Awesome.
business essentially runs without me. So yeah,
Yep.
we're on
Amazing.
that path.
yeah, oh man. Mark, props, man. Props. Like, just taking action. Guys, take action. It was crazy. Mark and I got on like the first few calls, and it was amazing. Just when you take action, that's where the true power of getting into that action, you go through it. And I mean, Mark, I'll even ask you this, right? You remember those first few calls after you hired him? Those weeks were uncomfortable, weren't they?
Sure, they were difficult. Yeah. Yeah.
And
And now it's glorious.
it's glorious.
It is. It is.
So what's the next 1 or 2 steps to triple the business?
So my main thing for tripling the business is we're going to triple our marketing budget. We've already
And
done it.
what's the business? Sorry, my fault.
Oh, I own a home inspection company,
Okay, where?
Colorado Springs.
Okay. And so tripling the market is going to net you more business? What avenue are you going to take for that?
Okay, so currently our market is essentially 30-mile radius around Colorado Springs, and we're going to expand both into south into Pueblo and north into Denver. So I've
Okay.
got 7 current people that work for me. I'm going to hire 14 more.
Awesome.
So
There's a great guy I know named Sean Williams who works up in North Denver. Iron Inspections. I've had him on the podcast. Super nice guy. He might be a nice resource. He focuses on his direct area, so I'll introduce you to him. I'll get your email from Matt. And then I also know like 1 million investors in Denver. So 2 of my coaching clients live in Denver, so we can definitely get you networking with those guys.
Mark and I've been busting Mark about the Michigan market too. Busting in that one.
Dude, I'm telling you right now, Mark that's what I'm doing the rest of my life, doing the businesses that are essential to business. And you can't, like, everybody goes for the flashy businesses. You could be in 3 markets and you could be generating $30 million easy.
Guys, laundromats. It's like, see, like, do any of you guys follow Cody Sanchez?
Of course.
Yeah.
She's my white whale. When I get her on the podcast, I'm done. And the thing is I could get her on through my mentors, but I refuse. I'm going after it the hard way.
Just going at the white whale. I love it. It's true. I mean, it is. That's why, like, the businesses that are not sexy, the businesses that there's no hype in, are the ones that are consistent. And they
I remember when we were private equity, the commercial inspector was getting $3,500 for an 8 unit, and they were there for like an hour. I was like, that's some damn good money right there.
Yeah. And Mark is the president of the International Association.
Hey, Mark, you want to expand to Oklahoma?
why not, man? Why not? This is
All right. I got you the guy, because we're taking over Oklahoma. So we'll have a conversation. And he was already thinking about getting his inspector's license. So there you go.
All right.
Goodness.
Yeah. Let's go.
All right, guys, I hope that was helpful. You know, I like to just tell the story of, you know, it is, you work on your mind. It's a never ending process. It's constant growth. It's constantly pushing your beliefs. It's constantly questioning and sitting here saying, you know, what I believe true? Do I have to believe myself? Like, and sitting here and expanding into these other books. And like, I want to ask the group, a couple people I would love an answer from. What are some of the books that have been profound that you've read that have really transformed your life? Anybody? Somebody.
I'll go. Austin probably knows what I'm gonna say, but he sent it to me. It's called What to Say When You Talk to Yourself by Shad Helmstetter. Like, that book actually helped me quit smoking too. So that's like literally the best book ever.
Yeah, I just got off the call with 2 of my clients who just finished.
I agree.
They loved it. So good.
That's my favorite book too.
What to say when you talk to yourself.
Dude, I bought 60 copies. I mean,
Yeah,
I might as well be the author, dude. Like it is, as Stacy said, it should be illegal how good it is, the information in there. It's a simple overview. It creates foundational change, not short term.
What do you think? Is it? I mean, I don't know. I'm going to I guess I probably want to ask Christopher. You put up, what was the one you put up?
Miracle Morning.
It was a miracle morning.
Yeah. Why is that change your life?
It allowed me to pretty much get my shit done. I was struggling basically with time management, and I wanted to get in my workout. I wanted to do all the tasks that I needed to do for my daily routine before 7 a.m. before I had to take the little one to school. So I always was a morning person. I never a 4 a.m. type of morning person, but it changed me internally. So I'd be forever grateful for that book for sure.
Okay. Nice. Anybody else? Mike?
Yeah, a book called Start at the End. So it's about basically when you start a business, think about your end goal. And how you get there, you start implementing the system now. The reason why I bring that up is because, one day I'm obviously, that's my goal is, form a couple businesses where at the end of the day, you want it to be like kind of what Mark said, it's on autopilot. You want to understand that everything that you've set up system-wise is there. And to kind of go off what you said, Christopher, I wake up about 5 o'clock. I want to wake up at 4:30 because I feel that by 7 o'clock I'm at work. I can get 2 hours of focused work. No one's going to distract me. I'll get so much more done today. And that's working out, and that's reading. That's just being with myself for 15 minutes. I mean, I look forward to the mornings, and if you just focus on yourself for that 2 hours before 7 o'clock, before you take your little one to school, watch how much you get done, man. I'm telling you. I mean, Austin over here is putting up Instagram stories at 2:50 in the morning. I'm like, I don't think this guy freaking sleeps.
Don't worry about me. I'll be asleep an hour and a half after this call.
But that's the thing. So Christopher, just, I need to read that book because someone did tell me to read that book. So that's one book. But again, the reason why I bring that book up is because it has nothing to do about personal mindset. It's just about what I'm trying to achieve. But these early steps will get me there. The 2 hours a day, you'll make up a big difference.
Guys, the other one I wanted to throw up, I grabbed this one down before the call. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of this guy. Anybody?
No.
His name's Wayne Dyer.
Amazing. Great stuff.
And again, this was one where that book that I just showed you is called The Power of Intention. And that was another one when I got a hold of that book when I was 29 years old. And I had a 30-minute commute, 30-minute commute to work. And I listened to that book on repeat on audiobook, like for over a year. And I listened to it like 3 times. And not only did I listen to it, but I read it. I mean, I've got freaking notes in this book. I bet I've probably done it like, I probably have gone through that book 5 times. And another one that you just tap into and it goes on repeat, on repeat, on repeat in here. And it beats those messages into your head. And it really, really challenges what your beliefs are in your head. And it really helps you ask those better questions in your own mind. And that's just, to me, like where I end with it. Everybody, like with mindset, it's your choice in what you want to believe and where you want to go with this stuff.
What was the book we were talking about before that? So Dave, we can answer Dave's question.
The Wayne Dyer one?
The one before that.
Oh, Mike, what was the one you mentioned?
Start
Is
at
that
the
Rocket?
end.
Start
Oh,
Yeah, yeah,
or
rocket
this
fuel.
one, Rocket
yeah,
Fuel.
Yeah, rocket fuel and start at
Okay.
the end. Yeah.
Thanks.
Okay.
Sounds
Well-
great, everybody. Everybody have an amazing week.
Yeah. Everybody,
You too.
thanks for hopping on the call. I will post I'll post these slides in the group and put this replay back on the group as well. And thanks for being here this week. And next week we're going to talk about, like I said, Outwitting the Devil. It's going to be fun. Has anybody read that?
No, I need to.
Audio book.
Read it.
The audio is great.
Audio
Yeah, the
book.
audio is great.
It's on YouTube.
On YouTube. Yeah.
Yep.
All right, guys. Awesome stuff. Everybody have a great week. We'll see you soon.
Are you good for the call
See
tomorrow,
you guys.
Matt? 10 your time?
Yeah.
Okay. It's with the fun guy. So we'll talk on the call. He's going to explain everything. All right. See you.
Okay, bye.